we are talking to Rishi Kumar. He is a tech leader in Silicon Valley, but he also decided to, move into a public life and political role as well. I mean, he took that plunge and he was brave enough, and he's been a community leader and a political leader. He's one of the leaders of the Democratic Party in his county. And now he's running for another race for the assessor of Santa Clara County. He'll tell us what that race is all about and the challenges that he's facing, as well as he will also talk to us about some of the earlier races which he has run, including two very high profile congressional races.
It's thank you, Ishani. Thank you. It's great to connect with you and have this conversation. It's an honor to join this. Essentially, this race, it's a special election that is coming up in November 4th. And the county is spending almost $12 million for this race because the current assessor, he retired prematurely. So it's a 1-year term, essentially, from November to November. And then, but it's going to be an interesting race with about 4 people running to replace Larry Stone. And this role is actually a VP of IT role because there's a lot of technology being used in the assessor's office, and also somebody who understands finance. And I bring that background from tech, managing P&Ls, managing business units, but also I've done lots of modernization exercises, part of IBM. So this is going to be a very interesting race. And I hear a crow behind me, which is, I don't know, can you hear the crow behind me? It's kind of interesting. It's sort of there as a cheerleader of sorts. But so where was I? Anyway, I think we are already running a pretty good race. I'm still working full time. It's been a journey where a political journey has emerged, in spite of working full time in tech. And it's been a very rewarding journey because it's about giving back. This country has been really kind to me. And I believe we have a really good path to win this race. I'm happy to be talking to you.
Mm-hmm. Right. So you have spoken to me about this in the past, about increasingly seeing more and more people of Indian origin like yourself step into public life, into political roles, and moving out of their comfort zone of the tech sector and various other corporate sectors or entrepreneurship for that matter. So do you see that happening more and more? And if you can talk a little about the the current context, because the political let's say the political dispensation in the US has changed. Things are a bit different from what they were during the last election cycle. So, from the perspective of Indian Americans, if you can talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely. And I feel that over the last 10 years or so, we have seen things change for the Indian diaspora. There is a lot more engagement politically because we see our elected leaders out there in Washington, and we have had a few of those over the last decade or so. I mean, you go back to 2010, and we didn't have a single Indian American member in Congress, and now we have a few, and that number is growing in size recently with Suhas joining Congress. So I think the political engagement is happening right in front of our eyes. There are Indian Americans who want to run for city council. This is how I got started running for city council. I served as the executive board member of the California Democratic Party for many years. And this is how you give back. This is how you get your feet wet. And you sort of figure out, how you can create an impact. And very quickly, I realized that somebody like me from the world of tech, we have a very unique disposition when it comes to politics and what our agenda is. And, my record was getting reelected with the highest vote count in 70 years of my city because we were truly about getting things done. There was no other agenda but to actually solve problems. And this is what is actually bringing the Indian Americans to the fore because they see a broken system at times in their county, in their cities, in their school boards. And so they are feeling that urge to basically jump in and provide that wisdom, if you may call it, or that energy or that excitement of being a new group that has come into this country. It's a good thing playing out, and I see some very incredible journeys emerging for the Indian Americans out here in America.
So you mentioned November. So, the new election cycle for November 2025 is, well underway, and all the campaigns, I think, are all heating up. So if from the perspective again of Indian Americans across, on a bipartisan sort of way, if you could talk about some of the issues, and do you see more Indian Americans campaigning for important roles, and how important is it for the community to to be seen, to be contesting, to be winning, and to be playing important political roles in America at this point of time?
Right. Good question. So I see that there are two things, when it comes to Indian Americans in politics. We are very good at meeting elected leaders, taking photos and putting that on social media. And so that's probably like it's showing a connection. But I think we need to go beyond that. And which is like, what do we need to do? We need to vote. We need to cast our vote. And I've seen the voting turnout is actually quite dismal for Indian Americans. And if we don't turn out, then even though there are political leaders that are willing to meet with us, take our money, but they will not be responsive to the angst that our community is feeling. And that's the reason why we need to get out and vote. Very, very important thing. It's good to have those connections, but it's more important to exert our voice with a vote. And hopefully that is changing because we can see Indian Americans who are running for offices and they are leading to turnout. I mean, in my city of Saratoga, the Indian population is about, I would say, 4,000 out of a total of 30,000. It's a small city. But when an Indian American like me is running, the turnout is quite good. And so this is how we need to treat elections as extremely important. This is a little bit of an off cycle right now in November 2025. We were not supposed to have an election here in Santa Clara County, but we have a few things up on the cards. And we have the assessor's race that just sort of popped up from nowhere. Then we have a sales tax increase because there is a shortage happening. There's a shortfall happening in every sphere of American society. And with the cutbacks that are coming from Washington or the cutbacks coming from California, from Sacramento. So I think folks are trying to figure out, how do we compensate for that? There are sales tax measures that are happening all over America now. And then thirdly, with the redistricting that Gavin Newsom is pushing forth because of what's happening in Texas. So it was supposed to be a very quiet election period, November, but it's going to be an exciting one.
So you just mentioned about your election, some of the issues. So how when we look at the US from a global perspective, I think we see more of what's happening in Washington D.C. rather than what's happening locally in various counties or states. Or even for that matter, school boards, which also have an election, across the US. So, how important are local issues, for an election like yours across the country? And do you see a lot of, again, Indian Americans engaging with local issues and, coming into public life because of local issues?
Right. All politics is local. That's what they say, right? And that's how I got started, at the school board level, where the change was being made. And as a parent, I said, okay, let me jump in and see how I can revert some of the changes that were being pushed forth with. And that led to an activism side of me that I never knew. We managed to fill the school board meeting rooms with 200-300 a speaking point, all that kind of stuff came together for me. And so I'm still an activist. I pick up local issues like today we are looking at raising taxes with Measure A. And running for county assessor, actually in charge of property tax assessment, basically. That's really the bottom line, and also appeals. So the role is very, very focused, but I'm taking a stance on Measure A, and I'm saying that no, we have to reject Measure A. We can't keep raising taxes to address the deficit. The public sector has to tighten their belt. We can't keep going back to the taxpayers for more and more money because it will never quite end. Our sales tax is already at 10% plus, and it'll keep going higher and higher. Do we want to see a sales tax which is 20%? No, not quite. So it's time to tighten our belt, and which is how Indian Americans across the country are seeing. They see their child go to school and changes being made. And even though we are super busy with family, with socializing, Ganesh Chaturthi is happening right now, so we'll all be getting together. But it's an opportunity for us to exert our voice and make sure that the change that will happen around us in our school, in our city, will be conducive for our growth as a community. So that's the reason why people are going to jump in. And I will see more and more of this happening for sure.
Again, a topic which has been discussed often is the fact that the Indian American community has largely historically been more have been supporters of the Democratic Party. But now, do you see that changing? I mean, there are one or two, whether we talk about the administration of the President Trump or people running for various offices. Do you see a bipartisan trend, and do you see more people also sort of running for public office representing the Republicans as well? Is that happening?
Well, I think it really boils down to the state you live in. California is deep blue. And, I've been a California Democrat forever, uh,
Hmm.
becoming a delegate. I was a Joe Biden delegate. I was a Bernie Sanders delegate. So as a Democrat, I found an opportunity for me to engage and express my voice and make change happen with elected leaders. I would show up at executive board meetings of the California Democratic Party, and I would literally be the only Indian American in the room. And I would have a chance to go talk to Kamala Harris or go talk to Gavin Newsom. So those connections were actually very helpful. And asking Gavin Newsom to take action when there were two Indian Americans who were shot at a bar in Kansas while they were watching a football game. I met Gavin Newsom. He was the lieutenant governor back then. And I said, can you please speak up on this topic? So I think it's important for us to be out there. We might have a platform, but it's important to make a good use of that platform, which is what I've always tried to do in my life. Don't take it for granted, because the rug can be pulled under your feet, at the carpet can be pulled anytime. So it's important for us to engage, exercise a voice, and make sure that people in that authority, people who are going to make decisions, are able to hear your voice. Extremely critical.
So the number of Indians in the U.S. Congress has been going up practically every elections. There's one more person being added. The Samosa Caucus, as it's called, is growing, and you have yourself run two very strong campaigns for Congress. So how important do you think it is for Indians to sort of run for these highest offices and find a place for themselves in the top ranks of government?
Yes, so Raja is very interesting because been in Congress, and it doesn't matter which seat we run for, but it's important to be in the race, to make sure that there are seats that align with who I am as a person or as a community, that we engage in those types of races. The reason why I ran for Congress is because from Silicon Valley, we have never, ever had a tech-savvy leader. I haven't seen any. And Silicon Valley is a huge economy. It's made California the sixth largest economy in the world because of Silicon Valley. And why don't we have leaders representing us in Congress in Washington who have that skill set, who understand technology? That led to an urge for me to run for Congress and see how we could bridge that gap. And it was a very exciting journey. I mean, we gained 102,000 votes, challenging an incumbent who had served in office for 30 years, for a long, long time. And if we had 121,000 votes, just 19,000 votes more, we would have won that race. So we came pretty close to getting a win. It was a question of raising money. That was the shortfall that we had, and blame it on me. But politics, there is an element of money, and you need to, when you jump into races, you have to figure out a way to create a win plan. We did everything right in that race. We had over 2,000 volunteers who engaged. We were able to excite and engage the youth who came from all parts of the country. I mean, we had volunteers who came from Florida, from Michigan, from Maryland. They came from all over because they found a race that was exciting, somebody who was younger, challenging the establishment, who wanted to make change happen in a positive way. So we were able to excite and engage. And that's the nature of all these races. We have to engage the people, we have to engage the hearts and minds of people, and run solid campaigns, which is what we believe in doing. So I believe that, Raja, I can see he's taken it to the next level, running for US Senate. But I will still see many people from the Indian American diaspora who will be running school boards, but they will be going up the ranks. I see Kansan Chu over here. He started as a school board. He became a San Jose City Council member. He became a member of the Legislative Assembly in Sacramento. So all you have to do is take baby steps, and you'll find a path, if whether it excites you or not. But that path will emerge, and it's for you to decide whether you want to pick it or leave it.
Right. I mean, this would be my last question. Besides, public life and politics, you have also emerged as a community leader, and you've written a book on AI. You engage young people in STEM related activities. If you can talk a little about that. I mean, you've emerged as a tech leader within the community too.
So we actually founded the Saratoga Hindu Temple back in 2012, and the idea was to engage our youth, our kids, culturally. So we would teach them Balagokulam, Balavihar, Hindi classes, but also the aspiration is always tech, because we have a tech-centric group here in Silicon Valley. So we started running Lego robotics boot camps. We started running entrepreneurship boot camps. We have run ChatGPT training classes. So this is who I've been identified as, because there are people who come from different parts of the valley, sometimes like 30 miles away. They show up here in our city to get educated with AI or with everything else. So this I felt was critical for us to have that hook, because families will find time, because if see, we thrive with building cohesive families that are also creating a roadmap for success for our youth. So when it comes to culture and traditions, it has to be intermixed with STEM programs, so that they will benefit, they will thrive based not only upon STEM programs, but also on the cultural values that they will pick up. And that's how we sort of incorporated it as part of a program. And it's still continuing till today. I mean, we started in 2012, but we have seen some pretty amazing things. I still meet people and their kids look at me and I'm like, oh, you are the guy I got a chance to get programs they talk about. So it's we have run so many programs over the last few years, and truly it's quite nice to see the eyes of these little kids light up when they see me. They're like, you are the guy who did this program, and I gained tremendously from it. The parents still remember me. But I think we need to have a lot more of these, because we need to be grounded in our cultures, in our traditions, as we look at other opportunities out there. And so when these kids go to college, they will take it with them. It's a little seed that we have planted in their head, which will grow. And that's the reason why I do what I do.
Right. Thank you, Rishi. That was very interesting. All your replies.